Hey there, hello and welcome. It is Madeline Correa here. Welcome, super excited to be with you as always. And as always, I have my corporate friends on the line, and that conference line is in the event as well. And it's welcome to all of my Facebook friends to use that conference line as well if you can't stream video live during lunchtime or whatever time it is where you are. Hey Danielle, good to see you. I'm glad you made it. So today we're talking about, I asked the question, are you giving away your power? And of course, I'm going to discuss how to get it back, right? And what brings this up is that this is being empowered, taking control, stepping into your power is really one of the core principles of my being, right? So that I operate from as a person, that I operate my company from, and that I operate my primordial power program from as well, which it's even in the name of the program. It's that important and that integral to our success and well-being in every area of life. And how I came to discover this principle is, in case you don't know my story, I'm going to give you a quick snippet of it. Back in 2010, I had a nervous breakdown, making air quotes for my conference line friends, for lack of a better term, right? But I was really coming apart at the seams, and I really thought I was losing my mind at that time. I know people say that jokingly, and when I refer to that dark time in January, actually, of 2010, and the times leading up to that, it was a real fear, right? Early that year, it was a real fear for me that I thought I was losing my mind. So, and then I discovered, everything that I teach, and was able to turn it all around naturally without medication, right? That's not to say that I didn't take medication before I got to that point, but one of the things that the first step in my taking my life back was learning and embracing this principle today. And that is that you are at cause for everything in your life, right? No one else but you. What does that mean? You are at cause. That means that we are, you've heard me say this time and time again, that we are responsible for what we say, what we think, and what we do. We're responsible for our actions, therefore we are responsible for our results, right? But it might not feel like that's the case because so many of us are suffering from anxiety, stress, disorders, depression, just plain old dissatisfaction with life, tough times in tough situations in your life. And I want to start introducing this principle by reminding you that you are not your thoughts. You are the thinker of your thoughts. And I have your attention. Thank you for that. And now I'll invite you to turn your attention to the one who's listening. And that presence, that being, is you. Okay? That's the real you. That's the true you. That's the true you that is empowered, right? But first, we need to know how to get at that you and bring it out so that you is present most of the time, as opposed to being buried beneath the, 60 to 80,000 thoughts that we all have per day, right? So that's 1.2 thoughts per second. That's a lot of thoughts, right? And most of us, right, spend our time in negative thoughts, don't we? That's right. Right? Because and it's those negative thought patterns that lead us to states of anxiety, depression, anger, sadness, all those negative emotions that I've been talking about, and the behavior that results from those negative thought patterns, don't they? 40 million Americans have reported themselves as being afflicted by anxiety, right? So that is a huge number, 40 million Americans. And they're taking medication, right? I went on a rant last week about medication and how that's not the way to go to resolve your mood disorders, whether it be anxiety, depression, just negative emotions in general, right? So that's a slippery slope, and it's just it's just masking the symptoms. It's not getting at the root cause. Additionally, we're medicating ourselves, aren't we? We're medicating ourselves with food, right? We eat the pizza, the cookie, or the chips to make ourselves feel better. We're medicating ourselves with alcohol. We're drinking at night, with sex, shopping, and we're even going to talk therapy. And, I'm going to, in the spirit of full disclosure, I will tell you that I've medicated myself with all of those, okay? And they're all crap. So, and most of them, right? So therapy is just a complete waste of time, in my personal opinion, right? So that's, I did that for several months because it was easy. There was a therapist right down the hall from where I worked at the time, but that got me absolutely nowhere. And these other sources of medication, they make you feel better for a moment, don't they? And then you feel worse than you did beforehand. That was my experience anyway. And I think that that's the general experience for the general population that are medicating themselves for anxiety and depression. Otherwise, those types of pharmaceuticals wouldn't be a $15 billion industry. Billion. So why, I'm not going to go on that rant again, okay, about why all these things about drugs. So you can look at last week's video for that rant. But why are these things not effective, right? Why don't they help with the situation? And the real reason is because they are all outside of you, right? All these reasons, all these therapies are using something that is outside of you in order to make yourself feel better, which suggests that something outside of you is making you feel badly, right? And the point of today's lesson is that all of that, right, the cause for your anxiety, depression, dissatisfaction with life, negative emotions, whatever the situation is for you, whatever label you want to put on it, the cause of that is inside of you, isn't it? That's right. So the answer is also inside of you. So what does some of that look like, right? So just some examples. And again, I'm guilty of all of these, right? At one time or another. I like to think that I am beyond them now, but I am human and I do slip in to them. But I'm not pointing fingers. I just want to express, this is what we do, isn't it, right? So for example, you're stressed out because you're late for work and you blame traffic, right? Traffic was bad, not as opposed to I hit snooze too many times and that's why I'm late for work, right? You snap at a coworker or a loved one and you say, well, they made me do it, right? They said that stupid thing or they did that stupid thing, as opposed to, no, I behaved badly and I should apologize. Or I've suffered a loss, right? Someone died, I lost a job, a lover, a friendship, someone moved away perhaps, and now I am sad and depressed. And this is where people get really stuck, right? And I let that sadness, that loss, depression define me, as opposed to learning from it and moving through it. So have you done one or any of these? I've done all of these. I've been in all of these situations. And this is where not being at at cause, right? This is where we're giving away our power because we're saying, no, 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 it wasn't me. It's this outside thing that is making me feel this way, right? It's this outside thing, person, situation that is making me unhappy. And all that does is, right, one, you're giving away your power. You're giving away your power to traffic, to circumstances outside yourself, and you're putting yourself in victim mode, which is not a resourceful state and is not a powerful state, right? The powerful state, how we step into our power, and this is, what I like to call primordial power, why it's the name of my program. It's one of the reasons why it's the name of my program. It's because it's the power. Primordial means since the beginning of time. And it's the power that we've had since the beginning of time. And we activate it, one with primordial sound meditation, but we activate it by being at cause, by stepping into that power, and by taking control of our thoughts, our actions, and our words, and therefore our life, okay? So I know that this is a challenging place to be, right? Because there's no one to blame but you. Not that we want to blame, right? But when something isn't going our way, right? There's no one to look at for a resolution but you. Conversely, and most excitingly, when something's not going our way, when something's not going the way that we want to, when we're unhappy, depressed, anxious about someone, the answer is with you, right? The answer is within you, right? And that is a powerful place to be from. That is an empowered state, right? I want to be at cause for my circumstances, my life. Therefore, if things aren't going well, I can change it, right? Because I am in control of my mind, my thoughts, my attitude, and my actions, right? So that means, if you're within the sound of my voice, I am speaking to you, okay, right? You have this power. There are, people in other places in the world that truly are victims and do not have the opportunities that we do as Americans or whoever else is listening to this, but are connected, right? If you're connected to social media, you are an empowered people. So I want to tell you a story because I know that this is challenging, right? This is not an easy position to come from. But let me tell you, my darlings, this is the position that successful people come from, okay? People who have mad success in their lives live from being at cause, okay? Because they know that no one's gonna fix it but me. And if I'm in the situation, it's because I put myself here in one way, shape, or form, and it's up to me to get me out. Okay, so my corporate friends on the line may have heard this story before, but I'm going to tell it again. So last year, I was studying to become a master practitioner of NLP, and it was a 7-day training, and it was pretty intense, and because we were in training for I think 10 or 11 hours. 10, yeah, we were in training 10 hours a day for 7 days. And there was a test, right? So there was a test that was administered electronically at the end of the 7 days. So, and actually it wasn't due at the end of the 7 days. We did have like a week or two after the training, but our trainers advised us to do the test at training as the training went along, right? Because they were kind enough to tell us that the exam was structured as such so that like the beginning of the test is, the training is structured in the same order of the content of the test, right? So that means the first, and it was like 130 questions or something. So let's say the first 10 questions were covered in day 1. The next, 25 questions were covered in day 2. So it would behoove us to do the test as we were at training. So while it was fresh in our minds, having just learned it, even though the days were long. And then by the end of the 7-day training, we would submit it. And I think we got our results on the spot. We got our results immediately because it was all electronic. And then we wouldn't have to worry about it when we got home, because, you know, once you get home and out of that learning environment, then life was going to happen. It was going to be difficult to do that, you know, to complete the exam. So, you know, in general, the whole group is a group of high achievers, right? That's why we were there, and we did as we were told, and we were taking the test as we went along through the training. So the training was Sunday to Saturday, I think, or Saturday to Friday, the 7 days. So, and Thursday rolls around, right? Thursday rolls around. Now the test is, you know, like we're done the next day, and I thought I was done with the test, and my answers disappeared, right? My progress in the test disappeared. And this was happening to several people in the group, the people that I had been working with, that it happened with that to them as well. So when we had just come from a session of working on the test, and I went to save my answers, and then I realized that they were gone, right? And I was back at question 1. Let me tell you, I lost it, okay? I was pissed. I was pissed off, right? And my little friend, I was driving us back to the hotel, and my little friend in the back seat is saying, Madeline, how are you at cause for this situation? And I got to tell you, I wanted to smack her. But it was, you know, my ego wanted to smack her, but because I just wanted to be angry. But that was victim mode, was it? Being angry and pissed off about something I had no control over. It was not a resourceful state, right? And you might agree that I had reason to be angry. At the time, I had reason to be angry that their technology didn't work, and that I had spent all those hours and all those days, you know, working through those questions, and now I had to do it all over again. And that was the end of the training. But anyway, my little friend was right, and being angry and pissing and moaning about what was, right? I've talked about what is, right? We suffer when we resist what is, right? And that was it. That was the story. The answers were gone. They were not coming back unless I put them back in. So it behooved me to get the answers back in. And that's what I did. I was able to quickly recover from that angry state, and got to starting the test over, right? So that was resourceful. Pissing and moaning and crying about it was not going to get my test done, right? So the moral of the story is that, you know, sometimes we are faced with circumstances that we did not create, right? I did not create that situation, okay? I took the test, I saved my results, I was diligent in my part, and yet the answers were gone, right? My progress was gone, and I had to start over. What did I have control over? My reaction, my response to that situation. And that's what you have control over. You have control over your thoughts, your actions, and your words, right? We have control over our actions. I'm going to lump all that into our actions, and therefore our results. And a good indication of whether you are at cause, right? Whether you are empowered or in victim mode is, do you have reasons or results? Okay. Results come from empowerment, and reasons or excuses come from being in victim mode, right? Not being at cause. So, and that's how you step into your power. Of course, you know, you've got to meditate, right? Because if you're not meditating, ideally in silence, right? Ideally in silence, primordial sound, meditation, you won't have the awareness to be, the awareness and the strength to be in your power. And on the occasions where you feel helpless, anxious, stressed, depressed, right? Where is my power? Ask myself, how can I be a cause in this situation? Where is my power in this situation? How can I proceed from a place of resourcefulness, a place of empowerment, as opposed to victim, right? Victim, this happens to me. Nothing good can come from victim mode, okay? So what am I making this mean? That's another good question to ask yourself, and give it a powerful meaning. What can I do about this, right? Even if it's just change the way I think about it, just change its meaning, right? How can I change that? Okay, so if you need help stepping into your power, because let me tell you, this is not an easy place to be, I would invite you to watch this video on replay, because this is the type of thing that you need to install in your being repetitively, right? We need repetition and habit in order to install new behaviors and new ways of thinking, right? And if you need help stepping into your power, and I offer you, a free breakthrough to your power call, and we'll be on the phone for about 45 to 60 minutes, and we'll figure out where you're giving away your power and how to step into it, okay? And you do that by going to MadeleineCorrea.com/talk. You'll see my calendar. You'll pick out a time that works for you, and you'll schedule a time to talk to me, and I will call you at the time scheduled. Okay, so I hope this serves you, and I will look forward to seeing you again soon. Please feel free to put your thoughts, comments in the chat as well. I'll also put the link in, to the MadeleineCorrea.com/talk in the comments as well, so you can just click that and go to my calendar. And I will look forward to seeing you again soon. And until then, I will see you in the gap. Namaste. Be blessed.